everyone, welcome in. Thank you for joining me. My name is Marlene. I am with A Room to Bloom, and this is your podcast Oracle reading. So today I am going to start the reading out with a deck called the Empath Activation Cards. Just when you step into the observer role and you watch kind of what's going on around, I see many things going on, and I could step forth with a variety of different messages. But today I decided to just start with the cards, because one thing is it is very windy out. So when it is very windy out, it speaks about winds of change, right? So you could be experiencing some great change right now. You could, sort of feel like the wind is picking up, if you will, and like you can feel change coming on, changes in the air, right? Ooh, I have goosebumps. So yeah, so let's see what messages want to step forth here. We're going to start with one card. I am going to use the book because they're rather detailed. Okay, so this is great. The Pleiades came up. Now the Pleiades is a star. It's a star system or a star cluster. And one thing I just want to mention before I tap into the book, first of all, the artwork on this card is kind of fascinating. So it kind of shows like stars in the air. The color is like a burgundy of this card. And then it has sort of a combination of cryptic like circles with lines and an arrow pointing up, and like the way that the lines are moving. But the number on the card is 39, which breaks down to 12, which adds up to 3 in numerology. So speaking about like creativity here as well. So if you are unfamiliar with this, the Pleiades star cluster is what Subaru used on their vehicles. When you look at the Subaru logo, they actually have like 6 stars, because with the naked eye you can generally see the 6 at certain times, but there is like this place and this space and these moments where you might be able to catch the 7 stars, even though there are some more, but kind of the main 7, if you will. And these are often known as the sister stars, or sometimes even people call them the daughter stars. So let's go ahead and see what message wants to come up with the Pleiades coming up with this empath activation. So it says, beloved star child, the oracle of the Pleiades comes to you now with a message of beauty. I do want to stop a moment before I go any further and read this, because I've never pulled this card and I've never read this. Before I go any further, one of the things that I want to say about this is that I found it really fascinating. I kept having the Pleiades come up. Then I kept having a Mayflower truck come by me over and over and over. And I'm like, okay, there's a message in here. And when I looked up the Mayflower, of course, then it leads to the Mayflower ship. And then the Mayflower, the shipping industry use the Pleiades star cluster as a way to, decide when to set sail and to help navigate on the seas. So kind of neat. And that would generally, there was something about May, if I remember correctly. So let's go ahead and read this. Beloved star child, the oracle of the Pleiades comes to you now with a message of beauty. We invite you to embody beauty as a way of life. The vibration of beauty is similar to love in that it creates a high frequency state that makes it easier to access love, compassion, grace, higher consciousness, joy, and magic. Beauty has an elegance and a refinement to it, and it is implicitly a part of all creation. As a being of light, you are carried in beauty wherever you go, and you carry beauty wherever you go. It is just a matter of choosing to see it. Okay, so I have to stop because I have something on my desk that caught my attention. I bought the other, maybe, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and it's just like a pad, a mouse pad, but it's a paper, and it says, some people look for a beautiful place, others make a place beautiful. So it asks us to check in with ourselves. Do we look to go to places of beauty because we're not making our own place beautiful? And beauty is defined by everyone in different ways, right? But let's continue on. Beauty is both a physical experience and a state of mind. As a physical experience, we encourage you to surround yourself with beauty, however you define it. This could be expressed in how you decorate your home or how you dress. It could be expressed by the planting of flowers or the landscaping of your yard, by spending time in nature, or observing and appreciating art in all forms. In terms of how you see yourself, you are inherently beautiful. So do not be confused by your culture's current definition of beauty, which relates to superficial and transient forms of attractiveness. These fads often come and go and will only cause you doubt and pain by comparing yourself against an unrealistic standard. When you are in alignment with your authentic self, beauty cannot help but radiate forth. Adorn yourself in the way that makes you feel good. Feel harmonious, uplifting, and inspiring to you. When you feel good about yourself, your beauty will shine. If you have been feeling the urge to redecorate, to change your wardrobe, or to bring beauty into your space in other ways, take this as a sign of full support from the universe. Now I'm going to stop again. So, I don't know, a few months ago, I watched a show, and I can't remember if it was on probably Amazon or Roku, I'm not sure, but it's about this woman, and it's her single name, and you could look it up. And she's definitely an elderly lady. I want to say she was close to 90, but it showed her journey and her love for like she would find unique pieces like necklaces and different things, or a cool, whatever jacket, and she started to just assemble these outfits that she felt like vibrant in and alive in, and she basically made her body a canvas for her self-expression, right, through what the pieces that she chose to wear. So she was like a living, breathing work of art. She was in herself anyway, but it's like she used her body as this canvas, a blank canvas, to uh, decorate. And not only did she bring herself joy, but she brought many people joy. And then as things went on, she there was a show that fell through, like a clothing show at a museum or something. The pieces weren't going to arrive in time for whatever reason, and so these people knew of her, and so they reached out to her, and she assembled these outfits and got them to them, or they came and got them, and they displayed her, some, like a sum of her, I would say, masterpieces, right? Her masterpieces of creativity, of the way that she put things together and pulled them together. She was a master manifester, bringing together that which created beautiful art, if you will. So as a state of mind, beauty is a way of accessing peace and harmony. It allows you to move through life with more grace, optimism, and hope. The world will always reflect back to you your perception. If you choose to see beauty, you will see beauty. If you choose to see ugliness, you will see ugliness. How can you beautify your thoughts? How can you beautify the way you speak to yourself in your head, the way that you speak to others, and the way that you view the world? If there is disharmony in your being, what steps can you take to reestablish congruence? How can you bring greater beauty and hence a higher vibrational state to your mind, your energy field, environment, and or relationships. If you find yourself struggling despite your best efforts, it might mean that you need to do some reflection and inner healing work to identify and to release the lenses you inherited from your family or your society. Just because, or society, just because these lenses were passed on to you does not mean that you are obligated to keep them. Beauty is amplified exponentially by groups, truly illustrating your axiom that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Creating beauty in collaboration with others is a way of experiencing the joy of the Creator, hence your vibration and the uplifting of others who witness the beauty you are generating. Whenever possible, join in conscious community to sing, write music, dance, plant flowers or trees, create art, celebrate, laugh, engage in the performing arts, clean up junk or pick up litter. Do anything and everything that nurtures feeling of peace, harmony, love, joy, and compassion. The Oracle of Pleiades wants you to know that your contribution of beauty to the world makes a difference. When there is no light, there is no beauty. When you are a beauty walker, beauty, beloved one, share your light with the world. Being unoriginal and inauthentic for the sake of trying to fit in or to achieve someone else's standard of beauty robs you of your joy. Further, it robs others of the joy they experience in witnessing your beauty. Beauty is simply the natural consequence of being in alignment with your soul. So be original, be authentic. Beauty has no standard. Call upon the stars, the star beings of the Pleiades to assist and support you. There's an incantation to the Pleiades. It says, speak this incantation to call in the energy of beauty in all its forms. So let's read it. Essence of the seven sisters, come and be my shining lodestar. Harmony, grace, beauty, peace, on my heart be the centerpiece. Purify my thought and word. Let those who hear me feel empowered. I beautify myself in space. My unique expression I embrace. Through joy and passion I co-create with others who wish to raise our state. As we express our authentic selves, the world vibrates in higher realms. I am a sacred beauty walker. The world is my holy splendored altar. So very beautiful, right? A really beautiful message here for energy that's coming up, tapping into the Pleiades again. Depending upon the hemisphere you live in, right? It's either May or October where you're seeing this star cluster. I could be saying that wrong, but I feel like at one point it was used in October, but there is definitely something about May. All right, so the next one that I have is, oh, this is so hand in hand, I think. I'm going to use a deck here called Be Kind, right? And so if you're stumbling across that which you believe is not beautiful, instead of pointing it out rudely to others, you can encourage others by just beautifying your life, yourself. Be the inspiration, hold the vibration. It doesn't mean about pointing fingers to others saying you should do this, you need to do that, you have to do this, but you can be the inspiration. Okay, so we're going to take some cards here. Let's see what comes up. Okay, be kind to the community. The number on here is 22. Number 22 is a master teacher number. Consider how you practice kindness to the world around you, such as picking up and disposing of trash when you see it, or removing an obstruction from a path. Take some time to notice all the things you currently do, as well as the things you don't do. What can you learn? An act of kindness doesn't always have to be toward a person to have an impact. So it's like having kindness and empathy towards our earth, right? Um, and really, thinking about that opportunity for, uh, like reconsidering if you're ever considering just throwing out some trash out of your car because you want it out of your car, but there isn't a trash can around, hang on to it until there is, right? Our earth is a living, breathing being that deserves to be taken care of, right? And it's like when you love our earth, it's an act of self-love too. Okay, what else do we have? The next one is connect with strangers. The number is 38. Make eye contact with anyone who's providing a service. For example, waiters, waitresses, nurses, or security guards. You could smile at them too. What can you learn? Most of the people in our lives are strangers. We neither like or dislike them, but we are not invested in them emotionally. This neutral attitude can easily tip into negativity when they don't act in the way that we want them to. We may get frustrated if they are serving us slowly, for example. Cultivating a connection with them encourages us to offer them kindness. Okay, the next one we have is number 51. Have a computer-free day. Choose a day when you do not need to use a computer or a phone, and make an intention not to use it for the whole day. At the end of the day, reflect on your experience without judgment. Was it easy or difficult? Did you feel calm or frustrated? What can you learn from this? Advances in technology have brought many benefits to our lives, but we may have developed negative habits around our use of technology. Allowing ourselves a break may have positive effects on our well-being. Yeah, think about that. Like, if we go for a walk, are we always listening to something? Or can we just listen to the sounds of nature? Listen to, who knows? It could be, if you're in a neighborhood, it could be kids playing. It could be sprinklers going, someone mowing a lawn. It could be cars going by, birds chirping. So many sounds, right? And then really paying attention to what messages you're picking up as you move through that. And, you can set the intention prior to going for a walk, that I'm open to receiving messages, right? Show me what I need to know. Let me know what I need to know at this time on my journey. Now, all of a sudden, I'm being guided to stop. Well, just stop for a moment. So this morning I was reading a message from a book called Time Out for the Spirit. It's a 2-minute quiet times for times when times, 2-minute quiet times for times that aren't quiet. So if you feel stirred up, right? And so, this is about self-recognizing. Are we getting wound up from our computer, from our phone, this type of thing? And it's amazing when all of a sudden you make a conscious choice to just step back for a while. Because what you do is you reclaim your power. You reclaim your energy field. You declutter the mind, the busyness, the hype, right? And so this message today talked about when you're shy about sharing your faith. And it says, it is like a mustard seed which a man took and put in his garden, and it grew and became a larger tree. That's Luke 13:19. This person goes on to say that in a reflection at a Chula Vista Nature Center near San Diego, the guide told us how the Franciscan friars who set up the chain of missions along the West Coast scattered trails of mustard seeds to find their way in rugged areas. The seeds began to sprout, and within a few years had created a precious growth of these sturdy shrubs all over the state. And this person began to wonder, do they scatter their seeds of faith as they walk on their daily route, right? So, like having this computer free day, if you go for a walk, um, and you're just choosing this, right? You know, others might point out um, something that you're not, listening to something. Maybe others won't say anything. But this person goes on to say that when their neighbor asked them where they went to church, they answered matter of factly and said, they answered no more. They just answered the question. They didn't invite them. They didn't scatter mustard seeds of faith, right? And she said another person, said something about the cross on her that she was wearing. And she said she felt like she was missing these opportunities to talk with people about her faith, like, kind of building the shrubs, if you will, right? This path. But I just kind of found it interesting that I was reading that and then this kind of came up, right? Was your day easy or difficult? And did you feel calm or frustrated? So what I was getting at is like really having faith, leaning into that. Okay, the next one we have is let's see. Notice your triggers. Yeah, this is really powerful when you notice your own triggers, because then you can kind of get ahead of it a little bit, do some work on it, understand yourself on a more profound level. It says take a moment to reflect on what makes you stressed. Keep it real by focusing on the immediate period. Make a list of what has stressed you out in the last week or two. What was it about these situations that made you feel stressed? What was the story playing out in your head? What can you learn? When you observe your own stress signature, you are already somewhat removed from it because you're observing it, right? Now you become a watcher of yourself. You've gained perspective. This distance gives you the opportunity to do something different, right? So let's say at your job, there are potentially triggering situations or individuals that trigger you for some reason. And you don't know why, but you get triggered by them. Maybe you do know why, but you never really speak about it. Maybe they remind you of someone that you never truly did the healing work from a situation. And so for whatever reason they trigger you. It's interesting, like someone could wear cologne or perfume that somebody else wore, and it's like because it's one of our senses where we become we feel right from that. And so that could set us off. It could be there was one here that said something about like if you have a waiter or waitress that if they're not, or somebody who's not moving along as fast as you had hoped, right? Is that a trigger for you because everyone doesn't move at your speed, right? What is the world reflecting back to you? Is the world reflecting back to you, just try to slow down a little bit, trust the journey? Why are you being slowed down? What are you supposed to see? When this happens, it takes awareness, because we can get caught up in our hype of life, right? But it does take awareness to say, okay, step back, breathe, and ask the bigger questions. What are you trying to show me here? What do I need to know in this moment? Why are you slowing me down? Why am I being slowed down? Maybe it is simply to notice your trigger of um, impatience, right? Maybe that you're not a patient person. And where does that come from, right? Maybe your whole life what are the words? Maybe you had family that said, you need to get this done. You have to do this. You better do this. You better whatever. You better perform. You better hurry up. You better whatever. And so you start, you established your life by this. Like it's kind of like a thing of fear and time, right? It can be like that. And so then it's like, when I let go of the fear of the time issue, then I become more patient. I become more present because I'm not, fear puts us, when we have anxiety about time and such, fear puts us out there, right? Because that's the next thing I have to be at. It doesn't make us present in the moment to, let's say, for example, smell the flowers, smell the cologne or the perfume, to see the colors, to hear maybe a conversation, not like listening in, but like sometimes conversations, they feel like they are being exceptionally loud for a message for you that helps you with something along your path, right? So these are just examples. What are your triggers? What has triggered you? And it's about getting to the root cause of the trigger, because oftentimes that trigger isn't really the issue. There's a root cause of it. So it's asking the self, why do I get triggered in these situations? What is it? And really sitting with it and looking at it, and then being more aware, observing it the next time that you think. Because what do we do? What is the story that's playing in your head, right? So what is the story that's playing in your head? So now if you've had a couple of experiences that trigger you, say it's a particular person or whatever it is, are you already mentally preparing to be triggered? Or now do you step back and go, okay, now I've seen that I'm being triggered here, and now I'm going to observe this. And I see where this root is coming from. And now when this happens, when I experience possibly a person or whatever again, I'm going to self-recognize that, am I reacting? I've been reacting. How can I shift that and move into responding, right? Do certain situations make you run away, make you leave, push you out of your plan, if you will? There was a book that has a message in it. I read it some time ago, and it was talking about a gentleman who was so frustrated with the guy that he worked with that he was going to quit his job that he loved and move across the country. And somebody said, hey, you are giving all your power away to this person. Why are you doing this? And the guy had to really sit back and go, you know what? You're right. I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to focus on my teaching. Stop putting so much energy and thought into this person or whatever it was. And once he started refocusing his energy on the teaching, that is what expanded, and the other issue just dissipated, right? So where energy goes, or where our thoughts go, energy flows. Okay, we're going to take one more. And this is share the pain of others. And it's really interesting. The number on this card is 50, right? So when you think of like half of the pain, try the following breathing practice. When you breathe in, imagine you are breathing in a willingness to embrace and share the pain another person is experiencing. And when you breathe out, let go and relax. It's a continuous touching into the pain and then letting it go, in tune with your breathing. And what can you learn? This meditation is a way to offer kindness, love, or caring when we feel that there is nothing we can do or say to make things better for someone experiencing a challenging situation. So the other words that I'd like to add to this, it's basically called holding space for another. You hold space for them to move through their pain, to allow the answers to flow for them, to what's coming to me are the words of this too shall pass, for the pain to move through them, because oftentimes when you're hearing someone else's pain, it's obviously within them, but it does move through, sometimes quicker than others, right? Um, think of anyone you know who gets frustrated easily, angers, quick to anger, right? But then they have a fit, if you will, and then it's just done. It's just done. It moved through them really quickly. That is emotion. And emotion, excuse me, the word emotion comes from energy and motion. I just have to have a sip of tea. So it is energy and motion. So it was like quick moving energy that moved through. They had this, like, if you can imagine, like a little tornado inside of them. They expelled it one way or another, and then it was just gone. For some, it moves through much slower. And when it's moving through much slower, there can be blockages, right? There can be blockages in the chakra, and this is where we do the inner healing work. But it takes time and space to do that without filling the time and space with, for the example, in the example of the electronics, right? What do we do with our time and space today? Oftentimes we fill it with electronics, right? Something that is plugged in. Why do we do that? Well, because it's just become a way of life. It's become the way it is. It becomes a way for us to not have our mind in the thinking mode, but a way to try to relax but zone out. But that's exactly what we might be zoning out. We might zone out, trance out, take in information that really isn't for the highest and best for ourselves. Pardon me, I just have to shut something off here. So it's not for the highest and best of ourself or others. Anyway, so okay, I have one more and that's it. I'm going to do this. I love this. It says walk with kindness, and the number is 11. And whenever I see 11, what I think of is two people standing side by side. The front of the card has a hand holding a red heart, and it says, walk and know that you are walking. Tune into the body, and particularly the soles of your feet. After a period of time, broaden your awareness so that you are aware of people around you. Every time you pass someone or someone catches your attention or comes into your mind, silently offer some words of kindness, such as, may you be well, right? It's like sending out this energetic vibration, this energetic prayer, this energetic positive message. What can you learn? In this practice, explore how it feels to offer kindness without an expectation of anything in return. Right? So I like to do that when I am out and about, especially like when I see people that are have physical limitations. And that's kind of interesting too, right? Because again, that's something you can see, but there are many out there who are struggling, and you cannot see their struggle. They don't necessarily wear it. And I mean this, like, if you are not speaking with them, if you do not get to know them, but just from walking by someone, you may not. But if you are an empath, you may pick it up. You may feel some sort of way because you tap into their energy field. And so, you know, without, you just know because you feel it, right? And so that's how empaths can be extra, I don't know, maybe the word extraordinary comes to mind, simply because uh, they just feel other people's stuff, and they might be able to say words of affirmation or encouragement or inspiration to someone who truly needs them, even though they didn't speak out that they were suffering in some form or manner, right? So very powerful. All right, actually, that leads us perfectly into the next deck called the Healing Mantra. So this is a deck by Matt Kahn. Let's see what messages come through here. Okay, the first one is discovering happiness. I allow myself to be content exactly as I am. I allow myself to be content exactly as I am. I have 10:04 at the time. I'm recording this on March 13th. It's 10:04 a.m. And to me, that is, do you hear the message? Do you hear me? Think of truckers, right? 10:04. I heard you. I allow myself to be content exactly as I am. That means accepting yourself unconditionally in all ways. Okay. Integrating the ego. Everything is for me. It is not against me, right? So all the things that we experience and such, they happen for us. We feel oftentimes that they are happening to us, but they happen for us to help us evolve our soul, which is why we are here. We are having lessons in soul evolution. Okay, the next one is polishing my heart. Okay, it says feeling is a power that helps me heal, right? So this is the encouragement to feel your stuff. When you have technology and such that like things are coming in, you're taking more in, you're piling stuff on, you're taking in more stories, more whatever it is, right? Um, and then when you unplug and you sit still, you get still, and you are still, because we are human beings, we are not human doings. There is a lot of healing that takes place by feeling. It's when we start to get quiet and we sit with ourselves instead of adding more on, that all of a sudden all the stuff that's there already can start to become getting healed, right? Whether it is exhaustion to the body, whether we give in. Maybe we don't normally take a nap, but we're tired this particular day, and it's like I sense that my body is tired and I need a rest, right? So you take a rest. It might be, I can sense that I'm feeling over emotional. You might not know why. You might not be able to put your finger on why, but you are, right? And so maybe you back out of something that you would have normally gone to. Moon phases have a way of stirring more things up because it has the power to pull the tides in. We are made up of much water. It has the same power to pull up emotions within us, right? So you could be feeling highly emotional around moon phases, right? So allow yourself to feel your feelings, and you can journal, or you can just cry, or you can be whatever, but allow yourself to feel them and clear out some of the stuff that's built up, right? And when you do this and you make conscious effort more and more, you start to realize how healing it was. I mean, even a couple weeks ago, I was maybe it was a week ago, right? Just I like getting over involved, trying to help someone out, and then it's like I was carrying all that stuff, like, and so it affected me too greatly. I'm like, nope, I need to pull back. I need to step back and allow this to play out. I don't have to be over involved. I can be encouraging and inspiring, but I don't have to be too much. I can feel the feelings that I need to feel to help me heal. Okay, the next one that we have is befriending pain. It's interesting. It's the same color as the card above it, which is a peach color. Okay. And it is noticing your triggers. That it falls under that card, befriending your pain. When discomfort becomes a friend, my most limiting beliefs are healed. Noticing your triggers, right? Noticing what causes you discomfort. When you start to notice them, they become healed because now you see them, right? You see them and you can start to release that which is causing you those triggers. Okay, the next one is grounding my energy. And this is so interesting because it falls under the card of share the pain with others. So so that was actually one of the things that I kind of needed to do because I was, getting over involved, if you will. And I was spinning, right? And so when we self recognize that we're spinning, we're, and it, you can say it's not really our spin, but we hopped on the ride, if you will, that was spinning. And so it's like, yeah, maybe took a couple laps, but it's like, I don't want to live on this spin. I want to have my energy grounded, which means self recognizing that you're spinning, choosing to step off of the ride. And so, what it says, it is safe to be in my body. So, when we are feeling anxious and saying, because what happens when we're not in our body, we're thinking about things out there, out in the future. We're having a really hard time being present in the moment. Like people can say stuff to you, but you don't remember. They're talking to you, but they're like, hey, are you listening to me? Hey, where are you? Hey, are you tuned out? What's going on? Right? Because you're not there. You're busy thinking about either future events or you're possibly thinking about the past, but generally it's like you're thinking out there. And so one of the ways that can help you be present or to get grounded into your body, I've seen people have like a rubber band on their wrist, and you kind of snap it, you give it a snap, and it brings you back into your body, right? Because you feel that little zing, if you will, right? And it's like, oh, I'm kind of floating away, if you will, but I'm getting anxious, I'm getting nervous, I'm getting overwhelmed. Pull that back and give it a little snap, and it sort of snaps you back into your body, right? Um, so kind of a helpful way. Now the other thing, I flipped a calendar today, and I just flip it randomly. The message that came up is the future depends on what you do today. The date is April 30th. So the future depends on what you do today. So it's not about what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do next week? This huge thing. It's about staying present, right? What am I going to do today? What action steps will I do today without getting totally overwhelmed? I mean, you might say the goal is whatever, but today I'm going to take these steps towards that goal. I'm just going to focus on today. Because if I make too big of a plan, which you can make a plan, but if you are move into a space of allowing in your plan shifts a bit and you can move with that, that's okay. But what if you are expecting everything to unfold as A, B, C, D, E, like in this perfect thing, but that's not how the universe always works. Sometimes we move from A to E, back to B to C, right? We're jumping all over because there is a different plan. Why? Because there are lessons on our journey. There are lessons for us along our journey. And one of the lessons is to learn to be present wherever we are. All right, and so I think that we're with being at 45 minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this message up. I want to say thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the message. Take care. Have a great day. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate you sharing the message with someone who it might be helpful for.